snap, Plan C podcast coming at you today. It is a Saturday night, and I think this is actually going to be released on a Saturday. So happy Saturday. Hope you're having a great weekend. How are you doing today, Cameron?
I am good. I'm a bit tired, but I'm right here with you. I got the energy. I'm hyped for this pod. Obas got the energy as well, and I'm just so happy to see it. I'm just so happy to see it, bro.
Exactly. We have an absolutely fantastic new episode of Skype Stoop Sessions with Anthony Obas. Not former friend, but old friend of mine. Known him for about 9 years. We went to high school together, and he is just one of the most unique, just energy-bringing people I know in life. And this was such a great interview. I cannot wait to show y'all it. If you haven't already, make sure you are following, make sure you are subscribed, liking, give us a rate, because why not? It helps, and we appreciate it, even if it's a bad rating, because then I know you care, and I appreciate you for it. Cameron, anything else to shout out before we get in this?
Just gotta shout out this man Obas is dope. This man is dope. We gonna link. It's gonna be great. And I do have my stickers are finally here. Production supplies are here. So when this pod comes out, most likely, hopefully those will be in your home.
There we go. All right, y'all. Hope you're ready for this great episode. We really got into it. The energy is all there. Make sure you're following us on Instagram and Twitter. That's where you get all your updates, Plan C stuff. Make sure you're checking out previous podcasts, whether it's What Happened This Week or other brilliant episodes we have created. Make sure you check it out. It's great stuff. And if we're all set, let's get into it. And we are back. As you can tell by the title, this is Skype Stoop Sessions. I think this is our third one, right, Cameron?
I believe so.
On the pod today, we have self-described mogul Anthony Obas, my friend of close to, I believe it's 9 years now since that fateful Mr. Mahan history class freshman year. How you doing today, Obas?
Oh, it's good to be here, Colin. I appreciate you. Yeah, it's been 9 years, and we'll probably go for 10, 15. You know what I mean? Let's keep it going. What is up, Plan C? Let's talk to me.
Absolutely. Man, I mean, I think about, first of all, 9 years is crazy. I had to do the math a bunch of times because I was like, no way. It can't have been that long since I was a freshman, but it is sadly true. So, Obas, I want to get started where you got started. You know, you are a self-described mogul, and you're very much into marketing and marketing for other artists. What sort of got you started there?
Yeah, I mean, let's take it back. I mean, I originally I never wanted to do marketing of music artists. Like, I loved music, but like realistically, I was going to do like sports analysis. I thought I was going to be the next Stephen A. Smith with Skip Bayless. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I thought I was going to bark on, some dude on ESPN and say like how good the Brooklyn Nets are. But clearly,
yes, sir.
Yeah, we're just amazing. We're just amazing. I had to throw it out there. But I thought I was going to go that route. And what happened was I was trying to look for colleges, and I ended up in Syracuse, but I didn't get into like I didn't even apply for the communication school. I just went to Syracuse just to go there because I was like, the financial aid package looked good, so I'm out. Yeah, right. And then
for sure.
Yeah, you got to go where the money's at. And I did this thing called Citrus TV. I started out doing that, and I was just like, yeah, I don't like people like, telling me what to say. You know what I mean? Like, It didn't feel natural. So then, I only did it for like 2 episodes, and I was like, fuck this shit. I'm going to do my own shit. Then I went into radio. And then after that, I was just like, yo, there's mad dope creatives and stuff like that. And I was always a creative person. But I never had a chance to because I was always playing fucking sports and running fucking track all the fucking time. It's fucking ridiculous.
Sports just takes over your freaking life, bro.
Oh, tell me about it. and I did radio, and I was just like, I wanted to kind of replicate a couple of like old radio shows that I used to listen to. So like the Hot 97s, the 100.3s, and like the
Z100.
Z100,
Oh yeah.
I
That's
love
the nostalgia.
the nostalgia. And then another one, classic one was I used to watch 106 in Park, which was on BET, and they used to have something called Freestyle Friday. And while I was doing radio, like I was just like, yeah, let's do radio. Let's just have like, dope emerging like creatives come on and just talk shit. And what happened? Yeah, just talk shit, spit shit, like whatever, anything that relates to shit, we love it. Like, we shouldn't love shit, but that's what we was talking about.
Hey, sometimes you gotta shoot the shit, right?
Shoot the shit, you know what I'm saying? Like,
oh man.
So I started having mad, artists come through rapping, and some people were doing acoustics, and I was like, all right, this is cool. And a lot of them seeing how like business orientated I was, and it was like, oh, can you be my manager? And I was like, fuck that, I can't even manage my fucking self. You want me to manage you? Like, you're wild. And after that, I mean, it just turned into, I just fell in love with radio and being on the air. I've always been like a good speaker and a good like, personality and stuff. So it was only right for me to be on the mic. So yeah, I mean, that's how I kind of started in the music industry. Started off for radio, and people started to hit me up and play their songs on the radio. I was like, fuck it, let's do it. As long as it's not trash and the people don't think it's trash, let's run that shit up. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's run that shit up. So
hell yeah, man.
Yeah.
So you started hosting when you were a freshman at Syracuse, correct?
Yeah, I came right off the back. My first year, I just came off doing radio, and I just had a vision. I was like, I gotta have my own radio show. But it came at a rebellious kind of effort, if that makes sense.
I got you.
At first, it was like, work with a team, and like I was working with these group called The Juice. I mean, they were cool, but like the situation was they were blocking me from like certain opportunities. Like, for example, like Dave East and Lil Uzi Vert and fucking Lil Yachty came up to Syracuse, right? It was only like press pass tickets, and basically they didn't even tell me like they got the press pass tickets, or like in
OD.
So OD. So peep game. And I'm just like, so first they shitted on one of my friends and said like, we don't need a photographer, we need both a photographer and videographer, which I was pissed off about.
Those are two different jobs. You use two words. They gotta have two different jobs for it.
They're two different fucking jobs. Are you fucking kidding me? Bruh. And I'm just like, that pissed me off, and it gave him a bad vibe. And then the slick shit was like, instead of them telling me like, oh, they only, like there's 9 of us and they only have 3 press passes, they just basically created a whole separate group chat and basically went backstage and was like, don't get it twisted, I still figured out a way to, see Uzi.
Yes, sir.
As you should.
We love to see it.
You love to see it, but the situation was like, it could have all been communicated without that slick shit. So I left that slick nonsense, and I was like, I'm gonna just do my own radio shit, because this was like, I'm gonna be popping, everybody's gonna love it. And that's what happened. I just started doing radio, and shit started popping off.
Damn, that's nasty that they even went to the extent of making their own group chat.
It was a ballsy move. And I'm just like, what do I have? Like, why do you have something against me? Like, just generally say, yo, we only have 3 press pass. There's 9 of us. Maybe we could have ran a cycle where it's just like one person goes in, then you give them the press pass, and they go see that other person. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. Like I could have, like, I'll be honest with you, it was Davies, Lil Yachty, and Lil Uzi. Like, Lil Uzi, out of all those 3, were the best, to be honest with you.
I mean, I don't really think that's a question.
That's not even a question.
That's not controversial.
That's not controversial. Exactly. So, I mean, I wouldn't have been mad if I got the chance to talk to Dave East. You know what I mean? Like, or like, I wouldn't be mad. But the situation is just like communication. Like, damn, like they fucked up everything. So that's how we started off on a radio show and just started kicking it from there.
Starting from a young age, at least in college, what are some things you took from hosting a radio show? And maybe what's some advice you have to emerging artists in terms of like both business and the production side of things?
I think one of the things I learned about radio is just like you should always have a plan and be strategic about who, what you're going to record and what you're going to, have like an agenda. You know what I mean? That's one of the things I learned about. It's like every time I came on the mic, I had an agenda. I had something to say. I had something to talk about. That's what it was. You know what I mean? Even if we didn't have like an idea, we had something to talk about. So we always had an agenda. So for me, it's like we always made sure to book a guest for our little freestyle Friday, you know what I mean, in some type of form. So we always made sure that the quality that we were putting on the air was something that people could take that content and really go off and carry a message on. Another thing I learned about is always record your episodes. There was just so many episodes that I did not record, but they were and I realized that I wish I recorded them, because those people that I actually interviewed actually are doing amazing right now. You know what I mean? And for me, it's like, even if it's not out in the world on SoundCloud or a podcast type stuff, like me having that audio and me having that recording and me having that chance of actually sitting down and talk to them is very exclusive to me, and I value that. So I think that's one of the things I always say. It's just like your guest is also giving up their time to talk to you. That means they feel comfortable with you. So, really value that, I think that's a good thing,
Yeah, definitely. And that's something I think I learned early on, specifically with the podcast. There's this one time, just to call back on a past episode, we were telling our most embarrassing poop stories, and I told a really good one off air, and I got a fantastic, genuine reaction, and it was like, oh shit, like we should have been recording this. It would have been so much better.
No fucking time.
Yeah, no. So, you talk about you are very much your own self-starter.
Right.
You are your own boss. Why don't you talk a little bit about that and maybe some current projects and achievements that, you're really proud of right now?
I mean, right now, the biggest achievement, it could be the Shifting Your Music into a Career Volume 1, which is available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Shout out to
say it louder for the people in the back, bro.
No, let me repeat that. Shifting Your Music into a Career Volume 1, available everywhere. Amazon, Barnes & Nobles, and Lulu.com. If you want to make your purchase today exclusively with me, sure, no problem. I'll send it to you in the post office. Thank you. I had to jump that. But
hey, no, please.
Yeah, anything you putting out, post it on here. We got you. We all about it. We all about the promotion.
I love it. I always love to promote, but it's also like there's certain gems I always love to drop. Hopefully people pick up. But I think the book is something I'm so proud of, because it pivoted the conversation. I'm always about changing the narrative of things. And that book changed the narrative in terms of artists and a lot of people that's in the music industry and creative industry, that they now understand that they can make money with whatever creative outlet that they can. It, like, the mindset is not to make like fucking $150,000, right? The goal is to like, how can I just generally make $1 off the shit that I'm doing? Right. That's let's start with the baby steps. That's the thing people didn't realize is like, let's start with the baby steps. Like, okay, if I make a podcast, how can I make $1 off the podcast? Like, let's start there first. And then can we make that on a consistent basis? Then you do 2, then you do 4, So the book is one of the things I'm very proud of as of today. I think the second thing I'm very proud of is just, the creative community that I built, I just don't only like fuck with artists in general, but I fuck with so many different creatives, from film to, photography, from like, just brand digital marketing and stuff like that. Like, I've learned so much. So having that community, I never had that type of community growing up, of just full of creatives. Like, I had a community full of, track athletes. I had a community full of football athletes.
Xavier.
Then I had a community of people that just love to party all the time. Like, I just generally never had a community of creatives where I could just generally say like, yo, y'all want to create something today? Y'all want to do a photo shoot? Sure, bro. After that, do you want to go party? Sure. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Party, not the let's get party and spend $70 fucking on like fucking Bacardi and shit. And then, then you're like, whoa, what happened to my debit card the next morning? And you'd be like, well, credit card fraud. That's what happened, like, fuck. You know?
Oh, actually, I got a question because the people on the pod know, but I'm an artist and I went to art school, so a lot of people listen to this pod are probably going to be creatives and people in that type of vein. And one of the things I realized, especially in college, was that not everyone necessarily knew how to make money off their art, and that's something they specifically don't tell you because they know you're about to be competition as soon as you graduate, which is something I picked up on. These niggas nefarious. Don't get caught slipping.
Don't get caught slipping.
Facts, don't get caught. But one thing I wanted to ask you is that when I listened to you talk about the book, I was wondering what advice do you have for creatives that are trying to start out to monetize their work?
The first one, I mean, if you're starting to monetize off your work, the situation is you got to be able to have a community. I always say that, like, that community got to be on some cult shit. Like, they got to die whenever they see content be distributed for you. You know what I mean? So when you start to monetize off your content, like, you have to start building a fan base. Like, you set the price, but you have to have them consistently come back to you. You know, one person turning into two people, that two people turn into four. You know, I think that's one of the things I've learned is, like, when I came out with the book, I'm able to just drop the book and say, hey, here's the book. I don't do that much marketing for my book. I just talk about it in my IG story, might do a couple speaking engagements, but it's the word of mouth from the people. You know what I mean? That's really helped push the book into next levels. You know what I mean? And people believing in the message.
Yeah.
That's one thing. The second thing is also, I would say, in terms of creatives that's also monetizing, I mean, shit, I always advertise for this, and I always say, like, you need to protect your craft, and that comes from, like, a legal standpoint. Like, I'm so huge on, like, protecting your craft, because you just never know, where somebody might steal it. You know what I mean? It's a true fact, like, you got to protect your stuff, and you got to know, like, where certain things are coming from, because if you don't, like, it's easy for somebody to just take your idea and flip it, and they fucking, like, trademark and shit, and then now they're selling the designs to somebody else, and they're just making profit because you just didn't legalize your stuff. You know what I mean? That's one of the things about monetization. And I think the third thing, when you start to monetize off your art, it's like, you don't make art to make money, you make art to make an impact, right? With the book and with my speaking engagement, with working with artists, like, I think for me, it's just like, I've moved past the money. Yeah, the money is cool and it hits. Like, some days I could have 2 cents, some days I could have $50 hit, you know what I mean, off of just the book and my speaking engagement. That's cool. But what is all this money getting hit into my bank account if no one's getting inspired and impacted through my art? Like, that just doesn't make sense to me. Like, that,
I feel that.
I think Cameron and I talk about that all the time, because as somebody who's a visual artist like Cameron, right now, Cameron, correct me if I'm wrong, but you're mostly doing commissions, right?
Oh yeah, big time. That's the way to make money right now for me.
And then you're probably selling some prints on the side.
Yep.
Oh, you already know.
Prints.
I got some stickers on the way. Got some prints on the way. Y'all already know.
Oh yes, sir.
That's fire.
You talked earlier about being at Syracuse and hosting your own radio show. Why don't you, for us and for the pod, describe what is Voiceless Music Meetup and This is Upstate? Well, I didn't mean to say and, but comma, This is Upstate.
Oh yeah, I could talk about that. So it's crazy because those are just events for me. I'm gonna just categorize all of them, and then, like, I can break down each one personally, those two. So, like, those are just events for me to showcase with creatives, and it's music orientated, cool. But, like, the goal is for creatives in all disciplines to come through and just, like, enjoy over music. You know what I mean? Like, music is like, okay, is like the little umbrella, but the bigger umbrella is fucking, like, let's do creative shit, So when I did the meetup, and the meetup is, because of COVID, it would have gone 3 years. But for the 2 years that it is, it's the opportunity for creatives of all discipline to come through and listen to music, enjoy food, but also exchange disciplines, right? At the meetup, you learn from panelists from just, who do finance, and how do you finance your, creative endeavors how do you incorporate finance into your creative endeavor? So like for Cam, it might be like the visual arts, you know what I mean? For me, it might just be for music. Like, how do I create finance into that, right? So it's a chance of us just meeting up and just kind of conversing, right? Because I think one of the biggest things is having those conversations in the room is so crucial when you're, you know, in person or,
That's
you know, virtual. Like, it's crucial, you know, conversations are key. And I'm all about, you know, maybe because I'm from, you know, we all from New York, but it's about an energy thing, you know? So that's why I created something like the meetup. This is Upstate was just a funny, it started off from a Twitter beef. It literally started from a Twitter beef. And I just said simply like, your artists are trash, you know, shout outs to Tip Dollars. She's from Utica. And I was just like, yo, yeah, you know, like, like your artists are trash. And I was in Syracuse. I'm like, your artists are fucking trash. Like, they got to do better. And I tweeted that. And then, you know, when you got the Twitter fingers, you know, people start thinking they Drake out here. You know, they start thinking they Drake out here. So I'm like, yeah, let's cut that shit. And then from there, you know, we created a very friendly competition, but also an ecosystem of just, again, creatives, right? So we did it the first time in 2018, and we had, you know, somebody who was making lemonade beverages sell at the event. We had somebody that's making, you know, bags and fashion. It's so crazy to talk about him because he just made like $10,000 in 1 month. Like, you know,
is that Isaiah?
Yeah, so that's not Isaiah. It's this guy named London. He's from Syracuse, but Isaiah's been killing it too.
I have one of his shirts. I had to.
I have one of his shirts, and I just bought one of his artwork because I was just like, yo, that shit's fire.
The dollars?
I bought the dollars. Hell,
the dollars. The dollars are so nice.
That shit was cool. Big shout outs to Surprise NYC because
y'all
check it out, guys.
Yeah,
Cameron, I'll send you it after. I got you.
And Cam, you know, send me your work too because I might cop because I need to put some more things on my wall. You know, but those were a chance for creatives to come through and just like chill out. You know what I mean? And you know, exchange disciplines because like I think we can learn from each other's disciplines and find intersection. I hate to use that word, but like, you know, to find like the middle ground, you know what I mean? Like find the middle ground and find where we can exchange, you know, because music can be in fashion, music can be in, you know, tech, music could be in podcasts, you know, podcasts could be in finance, you know what I mean? Like let's find the synergy and kind of bridge the gap. So that's where those events have coming from. And I'm so glad. And again, those events are not like I love doing events, but the situation is just like, I think what's more important is creating those spaces for us to come and just have, again, like those conversations and those face-to-face type stuff.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's so important right now because especially with COVID and us not being able to literally be in the same room together, right. I think the communication and the connection that we need to keep up it's tough, but it's so necessary at this point because, you know, if we're not connecting, communicating, we're just kind of going to be echo chambering in our own head. And, you know, that can lead to stagnation, I feel like.
It does. It definitely does, you know. I mean, I guess that's why people created like Clubhouse, right? Or, you know, these rooms that freaking like have those conversations. I mean, I have a double-edged sword view on, you know, Clubhouse because one of it is just like people just go out there to vent about their creative problems and there's no one's posing solutions. But then the other side of it, it's just like people are actually having rooms to actually have conversations with some of these industry people that are, you know, the big like A-list industry people are coming down to have those conversations, you know. So it's like, you know, those conversations are key and they were extremely important in 2020 and they're still important in 2021 moving into the future.
So talking about just a little bit back on college, your junior year, you were in London, right?
Oh, hell yeah.
And you interned at Sony. That's bananas. What was that like?
I mean, I'll be honest with you. I mean, like, again, I worked with Universal Music Group and I've worked with Warner Music Group, like when I was in college. And I worked with, you know, I didn't work, you know, for it. And when I went to, again, I wasn't thinking about going to London to intern, to be honest with you. I was just going to London just to, you know, shits and giggles and be like a top boy and be like bruv and all the other shit. You know, but, you know, shout outs to Rebecca. she put me on to Sony. And I was like, all right, bet. And I have to say, like, it's a cultural shock to understand, like, the corporate setting in London versus the corporate setting in, like, America. Like, I remember getting pissed off at, like, you know, my boss, because I was just like, yo, I'm done. And she was like, oh, you know, you didn't have to do it today. You could do it, like, later on the week. And I'm just like, no, I'm done. Like, I got it done at a quicker pace. But the nonchalant of me slowing down, and they would be like, it will get done when it needs to get done, and it will be done correctly, just like shocked me completely different when I was out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we are all about speed and results here.
Yeah,
you know, work culture.
Yeah, and I was just like, yo, like, this is crazy, because like I was in the office and I'm just like doing these bios and having like research and all the other stuff, and I'm like, yo, they move at a different pace. They move at a different, so from a work standpoint, they move at a different pace. Still the same music industry, you know, kind of political game, which was like, oh, you gotta penetrate a circle to kind of like get to know a circle, be buddy friendly. It's like some typical music shit. But like UK, you know, music business industry, working at Sony was completely different than working in the US. It was just a lot slower. The pace was right. You know, like I was able to understand like the culture. Like they have a great scene in the UK in terms of like emerging artists supporting each other. Like everybody knew each other, and you didn't really have to be a freaking You didn't have to have an Instagram account of fucking like 10,000 to be like known. Like there were people that had like 5,000 followers on Instagram, and they made a bigger impact. You know. So going out there and interning for that, you know, but it's also the fact, like, I was also on the ground too. Like, I was not only focused on, you know, Sony. I met good people there, but I was also like, there's only so much they can teach you. You get what I'm saying? So there's only so much they can teach you, because the situation is just like, oh, if we give this kid all the game, he's just going to run up and do his own stuff. Typical shit.
Yeah.
Typical shit, you know, but,
yeah.
you know. But I ended up, you know, getting to the streets and finding, you know, shows and learning more. And now, like, you know, yeah, I still have the Sony ATV family. Like, they're dope. And some of them I stay in contact with to this day. But I've also developed connections outside of, you know, the Sony ATV internship. And it all comes in full circle, you know? So it goes to show you, you know, you should work outside of your company, not just stay inside of, you know, your company personally. My opinion.
Yeah, I, again, completely agree, because, you know, when you're hearing all the same things, it gets old after a while.
It gets old for a while. And then it's just like, yo, you got to switch it up. And, you know, you have to figure out new things. And like I said to you before, it's just like, a lot of them, you know, some people were willing to help, but then some people were willing not to help because, you know, not to say it was like maliciously, and they maliciously don't want me to level up, but it's also like the fact, like, they're in high positions. Why would I give you game and then you become great at it and then you come take my position? Like, who the fuck would do that shit, you know?
It's not good for your personal business.
It's not good for your personal business, personally. That's what they say, but, you know, I don't know. So yeah, that was UK, and I'm hoping to be out there hopefully soon. So we'll see.
What do you feel you took, you know, some of the biggest things you took away, not just from your internship at Sony, but, you know, just being in London and learning about all this?
I think one of the biggest things is that you know, and being in London showed me that I don't have to stay in the United States to live here. Like like. Growing up, I always thought like I would have to stay in like New York, and like you gotta be big in New York. The accent just came out heavy just now.
No, hey, it happens.
It happened. That shit just came out really heavy just now. But like, you know, I thought like, you know, I have to make it big in New York. It has to be New York. I'm from here, you know, and that's the only way. But when I went to London, it just showed me like there's people that's way doper personally than New York. I could just, you know, blow out there in London, you know what I mean, and make a name for myself out in London. No one has to know. I'll still be connected with New York, like it's, you know, where I was born and raised, but I don't have to stay in New York, you know. I can move out to London and still kill the game out there, you know. I can move to Toronto and kill the game out there, you know. And it just
good luck with that real estate.
Oh, tell me about it. Tell me about it. But it just showed me that there's other routes that we could take. There's different routes we could take, and London's culture is just, I think it's just phenomenal in terms of supporting emerging artists, because they move on a very tribal movement, and it seems as though when I came to New York, it was just very competitive. It's like New York is very competitive and cutthroat in terms of just creatives, and I don't want to. I just don't have the time to do that anymore. I want to uplift everybody. I want to make sure everybody eats, and that's what they did in London, but I don't see that same energy being reciprocated in New York, which is very sad.
That's for sure.
Cameron sort of mentions that, and it brings back something we said earlier in the podcast, where Cameron would talk about going to art school, and sort of when you graduate, your competition are your professors now.
Yeah, which is crazy.
Yeah, and they really be talking at you like that. they really bring it up to you face to face. Like, I'm out here like, damn, I really came out here to get an education, not make enemies. Like, now you know my face. What I'm gonna do if I see you on the street? You gonna square up with me now? Is that what it is?
That's some crazy shit. That's wild. That's fucking wild. And it's just like, why are you gonna try to do that when it's just like, yeah, you taught me. And that's the thing. It's just, I hate when people do that. It's like limit information so that no one can can uplift. And it's a situation. It's just like, if I eat because you gave me the information, like, I should be able to bring you up with me too. Like, I don't get it. Like, I mean, that barrier of information now, like, just, it's crazy that professors think that way now. It's just like, oh, I give these kids the basics, they'll find it out because they'll find out the rest because I don't want them to be my competition. Like, just give them the fucking tools and shit. You'll eat off the back end soon. You know what I'm saying? Like,
for sure. Oh, one thing I wanted to ask is, like, we brought up this topic of, like, New York has to kind of we don't fuck with each other. Let's be like, New Yorkers got beef with every other New Yorker for some reason or another. But especially with social media becoming more popular, I do see that there's a lot more competition that kind of bolsters that type of activity. And especially among creatives, I'm seeing some nefarious practice. I personally work with some people that do commissions, like other musicians. They don't want to pay other people. They don't want to work with other people. Nasty. It's just mad nasty shit. But you, on the other hand, I feel like you use social media for a very positive purpose, and you're really bringing people together. What do you think is like a good way for especially people in New York to try to kind of change that type of culture that we're in right now?
I mean, for us in New York, we gotta be able to change. We have to be more respectful of each other's art, because I just feel as though no one respects, like, when I say art, I mean respecting everybody's creative endeavors. Like for me, it's like, yeah, I know there's other promoters and other people that are kind of, that are promoters, or also like management and stuff, like managers as well too. And I don't sit here and see them as competition. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't see them as like, yo, they taking away my money type shit. Like, fuck them, I gotta fuck them over type shit. I see them like, yo, like, that's family. That's an extension of us. We need to be fostering a culture rather than, fostering individuality. Like, we need to foster the culture. So for me, what I do on social media, and that goes hand in hand with Colin. I don't know if he was about to get into like the Obas rants type stuff.
It was my next question.
That's so boom, it ties in together. So like my Obas rants, like, I consider them like my little diary. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Why don't you start with what are your Obas rants?
So yeah, perfect. So Obas rants are literally like my insights. It's kind of like my personal diary, if that makes sense. Like, people don't get a chance to see me on a day-to-day basis. You know what I mean? So, or get to hear what's on my mind. So like my Obas rants are my personal thoughts that I'm sharing with people on social media. Like, this is the things that are going on, or these are the things that I'm thinking about, or this shit happened and I just don't know what the fuck. So I rant about them, whether in a good or a bad way. I just rant about them, and then people just gravitate to them or laugh at it, whatever reaction you might have to it. But it's just this is me being personal. Like, this is what happened. And what ends up happening is, going back to that, it offers collaboration because people see me as genuine. Like, yo, this kid is genuinely talking about shit that's actually happening. Like, let me collaborate with him because he's fucking genuine and he actually knows his shit. You know what I mean? Like, there's nothing about my brand that's fake. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
I don't think there's anything about you that's fake, Obas.
Yeah, thank you, Colin. Thank you. You right back at you too, and you too, Cam. Like, when shit gets normal, I'm gonna hang out with Cam too.
Oh, bet.
Oh, yes. Julian and Obas have to meet.
Oh, facts. I feel like we're gonna get along, bro. I feel like we're gonna get along. If we go shoot the shit, you already know.
You already know, so like, we have to be more genuine about our approach. We really got to be genuine and actually like, not to see each other in terms of like what this person could do for me, but on genuinely like, yo, like I see this guy doing like dope shit. I'm doing dope shit. Like, let's put our heads together to like 1 and 2. You know what I mean? So like my Obats fans again are just like genuine calls, but also genuine relationships of like people like, yo, let's do this together because I'm going through the same shit y'all going through. So why the fuck are we gonna sit here and look each other against each other eye to eye? Like, that just doesn't make sense to me these days, and people have gravitated to my Obas friends. I had a guy back in 2018 come all the way from Boston again. So back in 2018, I had this person hit me up and like I reposted something. I was in New Orleans, right? And I was just talking about
amazing city.
Amazing city. Fucking amazing shit. So like one of the biggest things for me is like I always wanted to like, I'm like, yo, so I ordered fried chicken and waffles, right? And the person was like, yo, like chicken breast. Like, you want chicken breast for like chicken and waffles? I'm like, that's bullshit. Like, I need a thigh and I need a leg. Like the food, whoever does like chicken and waffles with chicken breast, you should go out of business. Like, that's stupid. That's fucking stupid. Like, so I literally posted that up on my story one time, and I'm like, yo, if you go to a fucking restaurant, they give you chicken breast, like that, us walk away and don't fucking pay the bill. That's stupid. That's so stupid. Like,
you're not wrong. You're not wrong, bro.
Like, that is so. And like, I'm talking about, this is the South. This is New Orleans. Like, come on, like, you gotta give a brother a chicken now. Like, let's be real. But like that shit happened, and then some guy from Boston, like one of my friends reposted that story because it was funny, and then some person from Boston just hit me up and was like, "Yo, this is hilarious. I'ma follow you." From there on, they kept following me, and they was just like, "Yo, you're inspiring all this other shit." This man took a fucking $30 mega bus from all the way from Massachusetts to come to the meetup. I was just like, "What the fuck is wrong with you?" Like. But you see but that's just how genuine people, like, it's just like genuine vibes is happening since that moment. Like, me and the guy has been good friends since now. Because
that's some dope stuff.
That's how it works.
That's how it works, B. Like, I'm not, like I said, we're not trying to fake it out here. We're just genuinely trying to shift the culture into more of a collaboration, more into like, let's not be cutthroat, Like, if you see somebody's shit is trash, like, at least tell them the shit is trash and help them. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to fuck with them, but just generally say, like, like, yo, your shit is trash. This is the things I can help you. This is the things we can prove. We don't need to be friends, but, like, I see you as a creative really trying to do this shit. Like, your shit is trash. This is the thing that we can improve on, That's just being genuine, man. Not trying to be competitive. Like, the person, not trying to be cutthroat. I don't know.
No, for real. Like, you could kick someone in the kneecap and help them up, or you could beat them down. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you don't gotta be that guy that fucking curb stomps a dude. Don't be that guy.
Don't be that guy. You know what I'm saying?
Like, we need World Star stays on World Star. Leave it alone.
Leave it alone. That's what I'm saying. Like, leave it alone. Like, like, leave it alone. Like, I'm comfortable. And again, I don't come from a place of malicious, you know what I mean? Like, if I genuinely think something is trash, I will genuinely say it's trash, you know what I mean? Like, I don't fuck with it. Like, if you got a problem with that, well, boo-hoo, boo-hoo in your bed. I don't got time for that shit,
Get in the lab.
Yeah, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, get back in the lab, like, okay, cool. Maybe Obas was right, maybe he was wrong. But if other people are saying it's trash too and not really gravitating to it, then get your ass back in the lab, like, run it back again, like,
yeah, facts. Like, you I said your shit's trash, like, and they're like, oh, I think they gotta come at you like, oh no, I'm great. Don't talk about it. Show me. Show me then.
Show me shit. Like, show me, like, I'm like, like, for me personally, like, I don't even do that. I don't even like talking a lot. Like, I like to get like, my thing is like, how can you get better at something if no one's giving you critique on it? Like how can you like give people products and people's like, I don't like this product. Like, you have to go back and actually adjust your product to what the customer, like, you can't make money if the customer don't like it. Like, let's think about it.
That's some basic economics right there, bro.
That's basic economics. Like, if they don't like your shit, how the fuck are you gonna make money? Like, come on, like, that's crazy.
I definitely respect that because I know, like especially nowadays, like, people can't really take criticism, and now people don't even give criticism. And for me, I love when people shit on my stuff. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it because that means that there's something to improve. There's something that's there. You know what I mean? Like if people ain't even going to shit on your stuff, then what's it worth? They ain't even got the effort to shit on it.
Yeah.
Like
and the fact that you shitted on it shows me that you actually have appreciation of some shit. Like
exactly.
Thank you. Like the fuck.
And you paid attention.
Yeah, it showed you putting some passion into it.
You put, Colin, that's the key. You paid attention to it. That's the thing. Like the fact that the person took the time to pay attention to it is great. Like toodles. You know what I mean? Like damn. Wow. That was a good rant right there.
A great Obas rant.
That was a great Obas rant.
So, we talk about the greatness and, Obas, pretty great man, and you poured your greatness into your book. Where did you get the original idea to be like, you know what, I'm going to fucking write a book?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I've always there's things that I want to do before, first of all, I was at a very low point in 2018. And, I thought my whole world was going to crash. You know what I mean? I thought I was going to die. You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing. It's real shit, And I said to myself, I have to live every day like it's my last. I think that's a Big Sean line, actually.
Cameron loves Big Sean.
Yo, I like Big Sean before he came out with that shit. Before he came with Detroit 3. Yo, because I used to like Big Sean. People shit on me. Nigga, he good. Don't shit on my man.
He good.
I mean, he has released some doo-doo in the past. That's not lie, but he's still good.
He still gets his buckets from time to time. I give him that. He still gets his buckets. But yeah, back to what I was saying. My fault. I thought that I was like,
hey, do you think?
But yeah, I mean, I thought it was my last round. I mean, it was just a lot of shit going through, and my biggest thing, was we need to, as the new generation, we need to shift the conversation. We need to shift the dialogue. You know what I mean? So, I said to myself, I was in a room and stuff like that. Again, I was writing blogs, and my blogs were doing great. We were talking about 1,000 views, and people were actually sitting down and reading it, retweeting it, giving me feedback. We was having conversations about them. And I was just and I was studying this music business stuff, hand in hand with working with internships and stuff like that, and started to see, different trends. And I was like, yo, we always think about writing a book at the age of fucking 53 and be like, oh, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
And I'm just yo, bro, that's so that's so weird, why do we gotta wait there? And I'm just sitting there as I'm thinking this might be my last day, and I'm yo, I have the time now. I press pause on a lot of things, so let me just write. And I mean, I was doing research. I was already in the midst of writing the book, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? But I mean, those moments when you think shit is about to go left for you on and completely down the left. You really step up to the plate and you realize I got to create some of the best content. And I was just yo, let's strap up. So then after that, I already had some of the chapters already. And I was just yo, we're already 100, I was already 150 pages in. But then I said to myself, yo, how many people is going to sit here and read 150 pages? I remember in fucking high school, I didn't even read
oh my goodness,
2 pages. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So,
do this reading for class. No, thanks.
I don't think so. Spark Notes. I'll do that. Thank you. So for me, I was just yo, let me shrink the book down into short volumes. If I'm in the music business, so I have to use what people do in the music game and replicate that art. So my book, I'm dropping them albums, if that makes sense. Boom, you get this. Here's read this, and after that, I was just nah, I gotta and again, it all worked out on a timely manner, because at that point I was just yo, I can't be in Syracuse writing this book because there's just too much toxic situations. There were just too much happening, and it was just affecting me mentally. So then that's when I literally went to London, and I had to go to London to finish the book. You know what I mean? And I think that was the time Ye said he was gonna drop Yandi in Africa, and I was just you're fucking crazy. You're fucking crazy. You're fucking crazy. But then I was writing the book out there and shit. And then February comes around, we're drafting and we're doing all this other shit. We get the cover, and I was like, yo, this got to be strictly, DIY, because I am a do-it-yourself, self-made type of person. And then what happened was contact a couple, like my man Seth put me on to my man Darius. He was a former Syracuse person. He designed the book. My friend Nate, my roommate Nate, was the guy that did the bio. And then all I had to do was just, press submit and publish. But I did all that when I was like, you know what, if Ye's gonna fucking, drop an album in Africa, I might as well do the same thing. I might as well submit the book while I'm in Africa. So I flew out to Morocco and spent the whole week out there. I spent like 3-4 days in Casablanca.
Wow.
Yeah.
Crazy shit.
Wow.
Yeah, bro.
That's awesome.
That's fucking dope.
That was me, my man Ryan, Baruch, and like it's crazy. We still had fun. But like they were like, I went out there for the sole purpose of I'm going to submit this while I'm in Africa, and I should have like recorded content of me doing that type of stuff. But like you got to be under the low when you do that type of shit. And I submitted it, and I was just like, yo, let's get the rollout. Like I already had an idea of rollout, and then after that, it was just rollout, show, rollout, come back. Like literally, when I came back from London, spent like 3 days, 4 days, and 3-4 days in the city. Then I was like, oh, drop this. And everybody was like, oh my God, he wrote a book. And I'm just like, we always think of, like I said, we think like 50 years old, you have to write a book. I'm like, nah, let's shrink that to 20. Ever since I wrote the book, it's like my man, Luca Romeo, he was a year younger than me. He dropped a book called Mind Over Matter. Colin, I don't know if you remember Chiari, but Chiari's girlfriend, who's like 20, she's the same age as me. She has a book on like beauty and stuff. And I'm just like,
Andrew,
yeah.
I follow him on Instagram.
Great guy. So
he looks like he's fucking living life, by the way.
Oh, he's enjoying himself. I gotta make sure that we see him soon. But his girlfriend dropped a book on like the beauty industry and all the beauty industry. I still gotta cop that book. He dropped the book. I mean, another friend of mine who's the same age as me, he dropped the book as well too. A couple of so I was like, not to be on some like I changed the conversation, but I was part of the shifting of the conversation of like, now people are starting to see like the book type of model and like, oh shit, Obas did a book. Let me do the same thing and copy it. You know what I mean? Like,
dare I say you're a mogul?
That's what we do, Colin. That's what we do. And I'm not trying to like boost my ego up and be like, I started a culture type shit. That's not what I'm. And again, I don't have ego, but it's just like I shifted the conversation to say, yo, we need to start now. Like we need to start creating content now. Like we need to start doing the things that we're passionate. And like since then, it's just like transformed into booking gigs. Like I just did one last month at DePaul University. And
that's my sister's alma mater.
Yeah, exactly, right? It's crazy, and that was fun, So, yeah, that's the process of shifting your music into a career, and it's still out, and yeah, man.
Plan C, go cop,
Go cop,
do it. So, talked about all of your, well, not all, but a bunch of your sort of DIY stuff where you're literally doing it yourself. Why don't you talk a little about So Far Sounds?
Yeah, I can talk about them as well too. Yes, I was working with so after I came back from London, I had my book, and this is a good I like this question about So Far. Came back, dropped the book. Month later, we had a book release show in Brooklyn, whatever. So I got the internship for So Far Sounds when I was in Toronto, and that was the year that freaking Kawhi and Giannis was going at it. That shit was crazy. I gotta say to you, like, let me tell you something. They were it was like the series was 0-2, and like the people in Toronto were just so sad, and I was like near what's that thing called? What's that area called? The Scott Bank Arena type shit.
It's I don't know the name specifically, but yeah, like Jurassic Park and all that.
Yeah. And like, I mean, I gotta say, man, like that audience, and not to get sidetracked, but Toronto audience, like they really turn out for like their team, so they're loyal to the Raptors. congratulations to them. And what happened was I was in the car with my friend Bob's, and So Far Sounds called me. We did the interview literally in a car driving to go to the game. I was like, yeah, music industry, blah, blah. Then they turned around 2 days and said I got the internship. Again, this is the very key to know. It was unpaid in Washington, D.C. So my dumb ass was like, I needed the unpaid internship because I needed credit so I can graduate. Like that was a major requirement in my school. But the problem was, yo, I gotta keep it a buck. DC is expensive. Like living in DC is expensive, and I didn't really understand what it meant to live on my own in DC, unpaid internship on top of that, and not making money, right? So like after I dropped the book, went to DC. DC was a vibe. I was living on my own. The living situation was not the best because the house almost was on fire because this guy left an egg on the fucking stove boiling and crazy shit. That's crazy shit. That was wild. So basically working with So Far Sounds, and I'm like pleading to them like, yo, I can't, like, I didn't expect the cost of DC to be expensive. And I'm pleading to them like, I need like a stipend. Nah. I'm like, yo, y'all gotta be fucking kidding me. So I'm like, if y'all not gonna give me a stipend, like I'm generally gonna be popped. Like I gotta go back to New York City. So I only spent like a month and like a couple days in DC working at So Far Sounds. I didn't really fully get a full experience at So Far Sounds. However, as a businessman, like when you're in an organization, you don't have a lot, like your job. My job when I enter into like organizations, like figure out their business model, figure out how they make money. And then when I'm bored, I leave, right? So that was my job. And I figured out how So Far Sounds made their money within a week. And it was it's such an easy business model. Like I can replicate it, So like when I worked down there, and when I was working at So Far, I was basically doing the stuff that I was doing for myself for them. Like I was looking up venues for them. I was looking for PR. And I was just like, this is so stupid. Like I just released a book. I can't even fully promote the book, but y'all want me to do the same thing that I'm doing for myself to do for you? I said, nah, and I'm not getting paid. And I'm fucking broke. And I'm like, my credit card is running to the max. I'm like, fuck this shit. I'm down. You know what I mean? Like, and it goes to show you about the situation of like, again, like some people will have this, some people say unpaid internships is about the experience, it's about like learning. But I was just like, I didn't learn shit. I already had the tools to this shit. Why would I fucking do this shit? You know what I mean? Like the fuck I would do this unpaid internship. Like I should have stayed my ass and fucking like Colin, it's so funny about this. I'm gonna tell you this. Like I was supposed to work in HAP that summer.
Oh no way.
Yeah, because I was just like, yo, like I heard that they paid great. So I was just like, I could do my creative stuff, but also get, HAP money on the side. But
yeah, paying the rent,
Paying the rent as a creative. But for me, I went the idea of I need to work on the corporate side in order to pay my creatives. And it was just too much for me, but it was also running me broke type shit, And then I doubled back into New York and I was just like, I really studied how So Far Sounds business model works. Like I broke it down to everybody. Between us three, I took some of their master lists of all like the fucking artists that they were booking and some of all of the creators. I'm like, I'm gonna use this for myself. I was working for it. I'm taking this shit.
Well,
that's your payment.
That's a payment.
Yeah, there you go.
And let me tell you something. If that master list has become so great for me because I've used it for my own newsletter and people subscribe to my newsletter. So blessings.
I'm definitely gonna have to do that.
Hell yeah. So yeah, that So Far Sounds experience just taught me like this idea of my worth, my value, because I didn't know my value when I dropped the book. Because, we're always like, yo, like you got to get a job, you got to have security, which is like, 50-50 right there, right? But it's just like, if you can't do the shit that you love for yourself, like,
yeah, what's going on?
What's going on here? You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, you eventually just gonna burn out.
Yeah, you just burn. That's the thing. I was burning, and I'm like, yo, nah, I'm on a different type of level. Like, I'm not a regular intern, right? I have a source of revenue, which is my book. Like, that is helping me stay afloat. And the fact that I'm not promoting it to the maximum of my ability to make the most money out of it because you're hindering me from that type of shit, that's kind of fucked up. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, they're not trying to see you win.
They're not trying to see me win. And
you're already not paying me. Like, damn.
Like, damn, like meet me half in the middle type shit, you know? Like, don't be like, oh, I'll buy you lunch the first day you come, and then the next day it's like you're on your own. Like, no, like I need like at least provide me the opportunity to sell my book at your events. They never did that for me. You know what I mean? And I'm just like, yo, I'm fucking broke. Like, that bugging. And then after that, I went back to the city, and I didn't work that summer, but I said to myself, I'm gonna keep doing my creative endeavors. I mean, shit, I went up to Syracuse that semester with $30 in my debit card and $20 in my credit card. How I survived those 2 weeks, I don't know. But fuck it, we made a big move that summer. So fuck that.
There you go.
That's what we're talking about.
You know, so yeah.
As we sort of wind down here, I want to get to what you're doing now and what sort of your goals are for sort of the next year. What do you see all that looking like?
Yeah, man. I mean, with this whole, pandemic and stuff like that, 2020 was a year to like let us sit down and reflect and adapt to like COVID, right? Because the music industry got hit hard. It got hit hard. Not able to do shows, not able to see people in person, which is like a huge hit to the creative. No gig economy. That's a huge, hit on the creative, toll, right? So
right.
now, but the thing is, you have to adapt very quick. Not adapt quickly, but you have to adapt at your pace, and I've adapted it for that. So, I mean, I was able to get speaking engagements via Zoom, and I still was able to get, some type of guap off that. So, like, that changes the game because, I don't have to fly out to that space to do, shows. Like, I just do it over Zoom and call it a day. You know what I mean? That changes for me. So more speaking engagements, that's one. The second thing is like I'm actually solidifying the artists that I generally want to work with, which is like, so that's big. That's big. So I'm trying to solidify it to 5, which is hard. I'm working on bridging the gap. The gap between the New York and UK is good, but I'm trying to bridge the gap with other states like Denver, LA. So I'm meeting with a couple creatives in LA in June just to see like what the vibes is out there, because if we can provide resources for people in New York to get out to LA just by having the strength of connection, that puts us ahead of the game, right?
Yeah, that's what's up.
That's just what we could do. So speaking creative stuff, again, we're looking at maybe getting volume 2 ready for whenever it's ready, whenever I feel like it's ready. Maybe drop that as well too. And the last thing also is we're working on a documentary. That's going to be. Yeah, this documentary, like, again, I've always had a passion for film. I did like film, my senior year in high school, but also freshman year in college as well too. But this documentary is going to touch on, I can't really spoil like everything.
Hey, give away what you want to give away.
I'll say though, it will stir up a conversation. I think it will stir up a conversation that is needed to be said. And I wouldn't have like originally I wasn't going to do it. But when you find stories that are similar and other people are just generally telling you this type of story, I think, my platform calls for me to do it and, collaborate with other creatives to kind of make sure that this is being said, right? Some heavy content, and I can't wait to hopefully it's probably going to drop end of this year, hopefully. Maybe in early 22, but we just got to make sure we get the funds, and and then once it happens, magic happens.
Looking forward to it, man.
Sounds dope.
Yeah, bro.
Let's go.
Let's do this shit. Let's do this shit. Period. Point blank.
Let's do it.
So yeah, boys. Like that's what we looking at for 2021, 2022. And again, continuing to build, create, and I thank you enough for having me on Plan C.
Of course.
I'm so used to buying Plan B these days. Now I gotta.
Oh my God.
So I mean, typical. It's great. It's great to see a different type of plan. So,
hey, we appreciate you we appreciate you coming on, man. I've been really looking forward to this because. Again, it's been 9 years, and I have legitimately nothing but love for you, man.
It's love on deck, bro. Ever since running track, ever since we was in
goodness,
school, even when you when you didn't I think you left the high school and stuff.
Yeah, I dipped senior year. I was I was insanely depressed.
Oh, bro, it was a good move personally.
Oh, I'm. It's one of the things I'm so thankful for.
I remember.
I mean, no offense to Xavier or nothing. I made some great friends. It just wasn't for me.
And I trust me, bro. That's a conversation. That's a conversation.
Yeah.
That's definitely a conversation. But the crazy thing is, I remember seeing you down on what was it, like West? I think.
Oh, that's right. We ran into you in the Wendy's.
On the Wendy's type shit.
Oh my God, yes.
And I was just like, yo, Colin. I'm like, bro, had his hair like Cam. I kid you not, Colin had his hair all out, and I'm just like, oh, what? I'm just like,
oh yeah, those long hair, Colin.
I was like, Colin, I haven't seen you in like that. It was crazy, Cam. I was like, I haven't seen this guy in 2 years, hair all out, and I'm just like, word, bro. Like, live your life, bro. Like, fuck the bullshit, you know. And
this nigga evolved right in front of you, bro.
Hell yeah, that's what I'm like. Oh shit, that's a quick turnaround. I'm like, fuck. So, you know, ever since then, you know, it's all family, it's all love. And Cam, I hope to build that same relationship with you, man. And
for sure. You know, we got a link. We got a link. It's already happening.
Bro, just let's make shit pop, you know. So.
Obas, before we get out of here, we have a fun thing we like to do with Skype Stoop Sessions. We like our guests to give a statement of intent. You can be as specific as you want, you know, just something that you want to put into words that you want to materialize.
Oh, that I want to materialize, right? They're gonna remember the impact rather than the numbers I put up on the board. We're gonna remember the impact rather than the numbers that I put on the board. That's you know, no matter how much no matter how much products or services I give to people, and no matter how many people that I have around my circle, they will remember me for the impact that I had in their hearts. Period.
Hell yeah,
that's what's up.
That's what's up, man. And I will always love that energy about you. That it's like. Because, and again, Cameron and I discuss this all the time, where you just got to be like, fuck my pride, I'm doing this.
Type shit. That's it. Period, point blank.
Yep.
You know?
Yo, that is the most poetic statement of intent we have ever had on the pod. Yo, I love that shit. I love that shit, man.
Usually people are like, you know, no offense to the other people who have been on here, but usually people are like, oh, I'm going to, you know, I'm going to try and do this by then. But I love that, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. You got anything you want to plug? Anybody you want to shout out before we get out of here?
Let me see. Well, first of all, I want to shout out Sean Marks, man.
Oh my God, our Lord and Savior.
Shout outs to my Lord and Savior. Yo, Championship 2021 in Brooklyn. Yes, sir. Let's go. I swear, when we win this, I'm storming Atlantic Avenue. We're getting fucked up. Yep. I promise that. You know, I want to give a shout out.
Labor Day, come early, baby.
Labor Day come early. Want to give a shout outs to that. Want to give a shout outs to just shout outs to all the creatives. Just keep going at this point. But you know, just keep going at this point.
Hell yeah, man. Honestly, I think this is the most fun I've had in an interview.
This is hell yeah. I'm having the most fun too. And trust me, I mean, if this is going to be on, I don't care if this is on, but damn right, I'm about to light up and smoke my fucking ganja.
Do your thing. Do your thing, man. That is the hot leaf is a plan C. You know, we dabble, so I feel you, man. Thank you so much for being on, Obas. Like this was so awesome, and I look forward to having you on in the future, man. Because you know you're gonna do some big shit, and I'm gonna want you back on.
Hell yeah, bro, and I appreciate you for having me. Like, you know, anything I can do to help Plan C, let me know. Like we active.
Yo, and it was great meeting you, man. It was great meeting you. Like, I heard about you before, but we never formally met. But yo, we gonna build, bro.
Oh yeah, Cam. Like I said, Cam, give me like let's exchange follows for follows and shit, and like let's keep like and send me like your page on Prince type shit. Definitely want to cop. I support my black businesses, so you know what we do.
All right, y'all. This has been. Honestly, the most fun Plan C episode we've recorded in a while. So I just want to thank Obas. Thank you, Cameron. Both of you were absolutely fantastic. If you haven't already, make sure you are liking, sharing, subscribing. Make sure you follow Cameron at Stolo. Don't forget the underscores. Make sure you're following Obas. That's Anthony_Obas, correct?
It's you find Anthony Obas everywhere. That's it.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah. There you go. So again, thank you everyone very much for joining us today. Thanks for listening if you made it to the end. We appreciate you. Don't forget to wear a mask, and we will see you